Hello, I'm Monica Price and welcome to Cuppa TV. On today's show we welcome Anita Chumba and David Lee, organisers from the prestigious Birmingham Awards, which takes place here in November. Also joining me today is aspiring singer-songwriter George Windsor, who will be performing live in the studios. And then finally, the lovely Lee Deacon, who is Miss Plus UK finalist 2015, and she'll be talking to us about her life and all about the pageant. First off today, I'm joined by Anita and David, co-founders of the prestigious Birmingham Awards 2015, an event that is recognising people and businesses that have been part of the movement in Birmingham's future. Welcome guys, thank you so much for joining me on Cuppa TV.
Thank you very much.
So it's just wonderful to talk about it. Obviously proud Brummies.
Most
Looking
definitely.
forward to this, and this is the inaugural event.
It is,
it
yes,
not?
it is.
So first of all, tell us how it all came about.
Well, we've decided that there was a gap in the market because we've attended many events, many awards, and they've always been the same group of people, it being a business award, and you've got the business sector, be it education, you've got the education sector. So what we wanted to do was put everybody from different sectors, all communities, into one room and celebrate everybody's achievements. So be it a business owner, be it a restaurant owner, a pub owner, somebody, a young achiever, somebody in education or community. And that's what we're doing.
So it really is a broad spectrum of ages, David.
We want it to be an inclusive event. We want people from Birmingham to embrace it. We want them to feel proud of it. And we want them to feel as though anybody can have a say in something, whether it be a category nomination or anything. So just to have a certain amount of ownership.
Yeah.
Of the
Was that
event.
quite important to you that you had that sort of ownership
Yes.
and it had that involvement with the people?
Yeah.
And how did you go about looking at the categories? And what are the categories? Tell us a little bit more about the awards itself.
Well, you've got the business aspect of it, the community aspect of it.
Education.
Arts and culture.
Birmingham's formed of various parts. So you've got your business, you've got retail, you've got education. So we've got everything. So anything from, like I said, from business, restaurant, retailer, young achiever, community initiative, sporting, education. We were also doing a lifetime achievement, and one of the awards that we're doing, which we're presenting as Birmingham Awards, is Brummie of the Year.
Oh, yes. Has to be
It has
Brummie of the Year.
It has to be said in that accent, doesn't it?
What sort of people are you looking for that sort of? I mean, that's a big nomination, Brummie of the Year.
Yeah.
What sort of people are you looking for?
In a certain respect, you probably wouldn't be the right thing to categorise that in that sense, because it could be of anybody, of any walk of life, any age, any ethnicity. It could be anybody from that point
Anyone
of view.
that's sort of born and sort of grown up in Birmingham, knows the city, knows the people. So it could be anybody.
And so is it open to children? Are you having children be nominated?
Young achiever starts from 16, so 16 plus.
And as it is its inaugural event,
It is.
I should imagine there's a lot of work that's been involved
Very
in
much.
putting all this together. So there's sweat coming off the brow of both of you.
Sleepless nights.
So how did you come up with the idea? Whose idea was it?
As Anita said earlier, we've been to a number of events, and most of them have a certain amount of ownership of a part of a community, belong to something from a business aspect. Whereas we wanted this to be all-encompassing, so that anybody from any walk of Birmingham can feel as though they could take part in some small way or big way if they wanted. So from that point of view, we wanted it to have it in a way that nobody could feel excluded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you've had immense support already
We have,
for
yes.
the awards, and they take place. Tell us when it's going to take place.
27th of November, so it's Friday, 27th of November at the Edgbaston Stadium.
And again, have they been very supportive at Edgbaston
They
Stadium?
have,
Yeah.
very much,
Very much so. Yeah.
And how are they being nominated? How are people actually being nominated?
Okay,
What's the process,
we have
Anita?
the website, which is www.birminghamwards.co.uk. There's a nomination process. It's very simple. So basically, anybody can nominate themselves or nominate others. Just fill in the form. There will be a process in such as, and there's going to be judges who will make the final decision. So we have got 4 independent judges from the city who will make that decision.
So it must be quite exciting when you get the nominations come in.
Yes.
And
We do.
Have you got lots coming in already?
We have, yes, we have. So
Is there any
nominations
particular category that you've noticed that's, there's been a lot of people nominated for?
Community, I think.
Yeah,
Is it?
community, restaurant. So
That's interesting,
Bar.
isn't it? Because Birmingham, do you feel that Birmingham has a really tight community, David? Is it something that, there we talk about the Brummies, but is it a tight community?
I don't know whether I'm the right person to answer that question, really, from that point of view.
Shall I ask Anita?
Well, Anita might have an answer from that point of view.
it definitely is. I mean, there's so much happening in Birmingham. I mean, in terms
It's
of
a very diverse
It is very
city.
diverse. I mean, even in cultural events, there's so much going on, and every day there's something happening throughout the city. Be it an event, be it a festival or something. So. Definitely a very tight community.
And even though things are quite tight across the board, there does seem to be a certain amount of purposeful infrastructure going on inside the Birmingham area. It seems to be bucking the trend. I remember hearing recently that employment had gone up on a higher percentage in Birmingham than anywhere else in the UK. Whether or not that's down to the infrastructure and the investment obviously has something to do with it. So we seem to be going in the right direction.
But I mean, Birmingham has changed, hasn't it, over the years? And we've seen a lot of growth, both in businesses and attractions, and a lot of tourists come here. Is it something, again, that you thought about, Anita, when you sort of set the awards up? Were you both sort of thinking about that?
Because what we find is, like I said, when people sort of are outside the UK, when people ask, what's the second city? Everybody tends to go Manchester. And awards have been done in London and Manchester, so we've got a lot to shout about, and this is one of the reasons why we're doing it, because there is so much happening in terms of, all the new regeneration that's going on, with the Grand Central, the new train station, there's so much going on, so.
I think people still perceive Birmingham as being quite an industrial town. Do you think that's the case?
It's okay to be proud of the heritage. I mean, the canal development would lead you down that route anyway from that point of view, but there's a bit more to it than just that from that point of view.
Yes, and I mean, Anita, when you were organising this, who's the main organiser? Have to ask
no,
that
there
question.
is all 3 of us.
There's a team of 3.
It is a team of 3.
Women tend to be the best organisers.
I'm not going to comment. But what's your role in this, Anita? Obviously, you're co-founder, but what's your role on a day-to-day basis?
Oh gosh, I mean, it's
a bit of everything.
A bit of everything, yeah. No, there is a bit of everything. There's a lot going on. I mean, like, there's so many. We speak to so many people on a daily basis, just sort of shouting about it, really. Letting people know what's going on, when it's happening. So there's so much happening in terms of the backside of it. There's so much going on in terms of, like the website, the social media, which is very active.
Do you think that's very important now, social media?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Very much so, yeah.
We come to rely on it.
We do.
Don't we,
We do,
really?
yeah.
As a way to get... But is it helping you? Is social
so
media
much.
helping you?
Yeah, even with the nominations coming through just on the back of the social media. I mean, the tweets that go out sort of regularly every hour, there's something going out on Twitter.
And you've got people that are supporting you already.
Yes,
sponsors that are helping you.
have.
Was that important to you as well, that you engage with the businesses to help?
Well, obviously, you jump in, don't you? And from that point of view, you never know exactly what sort of response you're going to get initially, but from that point of view, it's been more than positive.
Were you quite surprised at the people's reaction to it when you put it together, or did you think this was you recognised the need, and you felt that people would embrace that?
We've been in meetings over the last month or two where we've had a response that was like, I can't believe how excited we are about this. And from the point of view, we're sitting on the other side putting it forward, and to get that response back is very, very exciting from that point of view.
And I mean, sorry, Nita.
No, I was going to say, because it's not been done before and it's the first Birmingham Awards, I'm just putting everybody together. I think that's what surprised everybody, because everybody's so positive about it, thinking, those barriers definitely need to be put down, and that's what we're doing.
And what sort of people have you got that's going to be attending the awards?
We've got celebrities attending, we've got, sort of the high dignitaries from the city attending, businesses.
Will the mayor be attending?
We hope so, yes.
Or if he's watching.
Yes.
You could put an invite out to the mayor. But, again, is it important, again, that you have that sort of prestigious, recognition, really?
No, definitely. It really is very important.
We want it to be very high profile at the end of the day. We want to be in a situation where not only is the evening itself a great success, which I'm sure it will be, but the after-event situation with the way the momentum builds, so that from a point of view, what we said earlier was right. We're doing a lot of work at the moment in getting the name out there, getting the event out there. Next year, we hope we won't have to work quite so hard at doing that,
people will be established,
it'll be
recognised.
exactly.
People recognise that you've done it before. And I mean, what is it about Birmingham, Anita, that you love so much?
Oh God, there's so much that I could say. I mean, just in terms of, for me, I think it's definitely the shopping.
Yes, quite right. What can we say?
No, I mean, there is so much happening around Birmingham. I mean, Birmingham is such a vibrant city itself, so, like I said, the community gets involved in everything, so which is good.
And how about for you, David? What is it about Birmingham that's...
I like the fact that now, especially, there are certain areas you can go to in Birmingham where they have their own little community within the community. So a bit like, the Digbeth area, the Jewellery Quarter area, the Chinese Quarter. There's little sort of vibrancies within that whole, and I think that's what makes a city. I think so.
And we've still got the markets, of course.
Yes.
Many towns have lost their markets. Are they going to be involved, do you think, in the, in your events?
I have no way of knowing that at the moment, but it's possible.
Yeah, because I mean, many cities have lost those kind of, indoor markets, outdoor markets. We have many food and clothing markets in Birmingham. And again, is it something important to you when you were sort of putting this together that you involved everyone?
Yes,
was that quite important to you?
It is, yeah, because we want everyone to be part of this. We want everyone to shout about it, and want people to say even afterwards, oh, it was a really good event, and sort of say we want to be there next year.
I mean, you can't fit all the people in Birmingham in Edgbaston cricket ground, so we have to be a little bit on the provision there.
I was going to say, what will the guest list be? What will the numbers be? What are you expecting?
500.
500.
Yes.
And obviously dinner dance.
It's a dinner. A dinner award. So black tie event, dinner. There'll be entertainment throughout the whole night. We've even got a charity partner supporting this as well. So, yeah.
But as usual, I might be the only one dancing.
I won't say anything, David. But when for viewers are watching who perhaps don't live in Birmingham, what is it about the city that you would say to bring people to Birmingham? What is there one thing you can think of, David? What is it about the city that brings people to Birmingham apart from the shopping?
That's a bit like that's a bit like one of those "how long is a piece of string" questions, isn't it? Really.
Is there any one thing that you think of when you think about Birmingham? How do you think people perceive Birmingham?
You can get a nice cup of coffee just about anywhere now, which you couldn't do a few years ago, to be fair. So,
but how do you think people perceive Birmingham? Do you still think it's, going back to my question earlier, do you still think people perceive it as quite industrious?
I think across the UK that there is that certain, with the ads on the TV, hello, the accent and everything, there is that sort of perception of the industrial, slightly behind the times situation. But I think people that come to Birmingham now, if they spend time looking around the place and going to a few here and going there, they'd come away thinking, well, actually, no, it's not like that. There is a certain up-to-date nowness about the city.
And that's the younger generation, isn't it?
Yeah.
So are you quite keen to involve the younger generation?
Yes, of course.
Have you involved any schools or colleges?
We have, yes. We've got support from the colleges. We've got people that, even, like I said, the Young Achievers category, so we've got a lot coming through from there as well.
So tell us about some of the categories then, Anita. So you've got, obviously, the main one, the bigger one. You've got Young Achiever.
Yeah,
what other sort of categories have you got?
Community initiative, so somebody that's a charity worker or somebody that's done something for the community. Sporting, education,
arts and culture,
restaurant, bar club. We've even got businessman or businesswoman of the year.
Small business, big business.
That's it, yeah. So in total there's 17 categories.
So that's quite unusual, isn't it? Because often the big businesses are recognised.
That's it.
And not so much
small. And that's what we want to do. We want to break those barriers, yes, definitely. Because we want to give an opportunity for even the small businesses and people that, want to get involved in, the big corporate clientele and sort of open those doors for them.
Yes, and then once the event has taken place, and you probably all can breathe a sigh of relief.
Time for a holiday.
So yes, I won't be able to contact you because you'll both be away. But what do you think? What would you do once the event's taken place? Will you straight away start planning?
Oh, definitely.
The next one?
Definitely.
Is that
yeah, because the buzz will still be there, so we definitely want to start looking at next year.
Is to keep it
going. Yes.
what do you think is going to be quite important for it, David, as an event? Because there are many events, there are many awards across the West Midlands. So what is going to make your event different?
Well, first of all, we want people that attend the evening to be able to walk away from that evening saying, wow, we had a good time. That was it. That was something to remember, worth going to. And if that's achieved, which I'm sure it will be, then the stuff that comes after is sort of just like an add-on. I mean, the people that are involved already within the awards, we've already assured them that there's going to be a follow-on from it, from an online point of view, from a social media point of view. We're going to keep the ball rolling. We're not going to really sort of end it on the evening.
Not going to get to November
and then,
and
then start to begin 6 months later.
Yeah.
It is
So
going to be
a continuous process.
Yes, it is.
And again, and that's important to you as well.
It is very much so, yeah.
And with the businesses that you've involved so far, are they're obviously supporting you and helping you. Do you think they'll continue? Is that your hope?
We hope
that they will continue to be part of you and part of your journey, really?
Yes, of course, yes.
Well, it's going to be amazing.
It is.
So I wish you all the best with it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me today. And you'll have to come back onto the show and let me
definitely.
know how it all went.
Yes.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Martha.
Thank you. So we're going to take a quick break now, but come back and join me in just a minute. Welcome back to Cuppa TV. My next guest is a young and talented singer-songwriter who is wowing audiences with his debut single, Acceptance. We welcome George Windsor. George, thank you for coming on to Cuppa TV.
Thank you for having me.
Wonderful to see you, George. And I mean, I've heard your single, and what's it been like? 'Cause this is your debut single.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster.
Yes,
I'm
let's
not gonna
start
lie.
at the beginning. How did it all begin?
Well, I mean, I met with my producer late last year, so the start of this year, and we came up with some new ideas, and we came up with this song Acceptance. And you know, Joe, he's fantastic at what he does, and what we came up with, to me, it's a very personal song, but it's just so commercial. And you know, you can't go wrong with a commercial sound.
There was a good sound
It
to
was
it,
a
you
really
felt.
nice sound.
And it's Joe Volpis, isn't
Yes.
it? So he worked with Lady Gaga.
Yes, he
So
discovered
again,
her.
now how did you, that was a very fortunate meeting for you.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, I sent out some demos. It was, when was it now? So yeah, again, late last year, this is when it all started for me. I sent him some demos, and he was the only one that responded to me, and he liked what he heard. And
How did that feel when you actually, because I imagine as a musician you get lots of rejection.
Yeah.
And you know, I've had musicians on the show, and it's sometimes it's a constant stream of rejection before you get that one person.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of, you know, most of musicians, they do have that gate that's stopping them from going any further, but you just have to keep going. You have to keep pushing yourself. You have to develop as an artist as well and go with the times, as they say. You know, I mean, look at Madonna.
Yes,
you know, she's definitely keeping up with the times.
Yes, absolutely, and she's still going.
Yeah.
So, which is great. So for you though, George, so you met Joe, then what happened?
We sat down in the studio. We just came up with all these ideas, you know, what type of sounds we wanted for the music, what type of melodies and lyrics, and he came up with some chords, simple as that, and we went in the studio and we did it all in one take, and you know, everyone was loving it at the time. You know, the studio was up in flames from this great energy from Acceptance, and since then it's been amazing, the feedback we're receiving from the track.
And you said yourself it's a personal story.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about that, George.
Acceptance obviously is accepting things which you don't agree with. You may necessarily not want to delve into, you know, certain atmospheres and certain places, but you have to accept those problems. You have to get back up and do it all over again. And you know, there's been a few knockbacks for me. Nothing, you know, chaotic yet, you know, thank God. But you know, there has been knockbacks, as with every musician, and the knockbacks I had just made me stronger.
I was going to say, did that make you stronger?
It made me a lot stronger as a person and as an artist.
And is it important for you as an artist, George, because you're just coming onto the scene now, your journey, you've already recorded your debut single, you're just about to do your video for the single.
Yes.
Is it important that, you know, you have a good work ethic? What's important to you when you're working?
You have to stay focused. You've got to stay grounded. You know, there's a lot of people that will tell you it's a long way up, but it's also very quick to come back down. So you have to stay grounded. Me, I'm fortunate to have a great circle of friends, a great team around me. So, you know, it's really important to, you know, work ethic wise, to stay focused, know what you want to achieve, and, you know, being true to yourself as an artist, because nobody wants to hear stuff which, one, we've heard over again, or two, isn't true. Music is pure, and it should be like that.
And you're a Birmingham boy.
Yes.
So
Yes.
born in Birmingham.
Born and bred Birmingham.
Born and bred in Birmingham. So again, what do you feel as Birmingham as a city? Do you feel that's a good place for your music to start?
Yeah, it's very underground. There's also a lot of major artists in Birmingham, which I know of, and, you know, Birmingham is such a sacred place to me. You know, it's a city, which I love. I am all about the city. You know, the nightlife. The music does great in the nightlife. The people themselves love the music, and because it's such a diverse city, you know, anything can be accepted. And my music, I feel, does fit in quite nicely in Birmingham.
And what sort of genre of music would you say your music fits into?
It's pop. It's, you know, initially it's pop music. It's got a little influence of rock in there. You know, we have a little bit of dance as well, but, you know, the music itself is pop music.
And have you considered, you know, doing one of the reality shows, you know, like Britain's Got Talent, or the other shows that we have? Have you ever thought about doing those, or was it something you thought, no, I just want to pursue my career as me? Yeah,
I mean, there has been thoughts of that in the past. You know, I think they're great shows. You know, they do offer a lot of opportunity. But myself, I want to try and push myself as much as I can to do it without a show. You know, the team around me at the moment, they are very confident that, you know, things are going quite well. So I'm more than happy with that. And the main thing that I want is the fans to be happy with the music. Being on a show like Britain's Got Talent or X Factor is great, but the fans I already have, they prefer just me on my own. Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So they're personal, really.
Yeah.
Do they become almost friends to you, George? Do you see them as sort of your friends? I know you can't actually see them, but when musical artists perform, do you see them as your friends? How do you see them?
I do. You know, when I do a show and I see them at the front, you know, I relate to them, because a lot of my fans are creative themselves, so I see what they want to create. You know, I relate to them, yes, as friends, because we have that something in common. They're also very different. You know, I don't see one fan that's your standard normal person. You know, they're all a bit creative, whether they've got glitter in their hair or they're showing fan art. You know, they've got art and stuff they're showing me while I'm on stage, and that's what makes me connect to them as a friend more than being as a fan. I
can understand. And when you're performing, how do you feel when you're performing?
How do I feel? It's really different. Every time's different. It depends on the music, really. If I'm, you know, how I'm connecting with the music. Sometimes I go on stage and I feel liberated as an artist. I feel honoured and privileged to have the opportunities I have. But, you know, then other times, if I'm connecting with a you know, a song that's been written, and, you know, I was going through a bad patch at the time, you know, I can feel really emotional. It's really different how I am on stage, you know, every show.
And when you're writing, have you always written songs? Is it something you've always done?
I've always written music, yes. As I said, my producer, he's done a lot of writing for me, but I've always written music from a young age. You know, my first song wasn't great. Let's just get that one out there.
You've got to start somewhere.
But yeah, I've always written, and
I'm sure it was.
I love it. I love writing music. You know, it gives me that freedom and that, you know, release mechanism.
Did you study music at school?
Yes, yeah. I did school and college. I did music and performance, and, you know, I do miss college and school, you know, because the lessons, they were fantastic. I was just starting out and I was getting to learn so much about such a big industry.
And for the music, I mean, music covers all sorts of genres: film, television, theatre. Have you ever thought about involving your love of music into one of those areas?
Yeah, when I was younger, when I really did first start performing, I wanted to do theatre. So we did, you know, Grease, I did Bugsy Malone, I did all of the classics, but I never had a lead role. So, you know, I drifted away from that. But yeah, I love theatre, you know, it's great, and I'll always see a West End show, very regular. Something
perhaps in the future you might want to go back into?
Maybe.
Because, I mean, music now has, you know, it shows itself very popular in television, in films. You know, when they sync the music into the film, it can be a very lucrative deal for a singer-songwriter. How do you see your future, George? What would you most like to do with your music?
I'd like to inspire people, and I'd like to at least change someone's life That's something I've always wanted to do, because growing up, everyone has their knockbacks and their difficulties in life, but there's certain songs that I've listened to growing up, and it has helped me, it's changed my life, and I would like to do that for someone. You know, just that satisfaction that you've helped someone through your music, through your art.
To have your song really as sort of a classic, like there's known classics that we can all, everyone can relate to, say 1 or 2 songs that they can relate to, and you want that one
definitely.
or 2 songs.
It'd
and when
amazing.
you're writing, do you write about real life? Do you think about what's happened to you, experiences? How does it work for you?
Yeah, I mean, I always start with the chorus, so that's the first thing that I try to think of, a nice hook. And I will write about my experiences, or if someone close to me is going through something, you know, whether it be good or bad. You know, music doesn't always have to be negative. You know, you can write about the positive things in life, and if there's something like that, by all means, if it's inspiring me, I will write about it. So it's quite a majority of things I write about, really.
And are you writing at the moment?
I am.
Are you?
I am. Long nights.
Yeah. I was going to say, when do you write? Do you tend to work at night?
I love working at night.
Where's
Candles lit in my living room or in the studio, just quiet, and just me at the piano, getting some lyrics down. That's perfect for me.
So you play the piano?
Yes.
Yes. Is that something you would do as a performer? Would you like to, you know, have the piano on stage?
Yeah, I'd love that.
And,
I would
you know,
love
like
that.
Elton John.
Yeah.
And there's others, you know, many more people play the keyboard than piano, but is that something you'd like to do?
I have had a dream from a very young age to just sit at a piano and a microphone, have an audience, and me just play to them. So yes, I would love to do that. My shows, they are very theatrical, don't get me wrong. You know, we have choreographed lighting, effects on stage. Sometimes we have dancers on stage, you know, but when it comes down to just the music and me and the audience, if it's an intimate audience, I would love to just have the piano and me and the audience.
And a spotlight.
Yes, it would be great. It would be such a nice atmosphere.
And what was, for your future, George, where would you like to see yourself, say, in a year's time, maybe a couple of years' time? How do you see it?
Well, I'd like to hopefully be sat on this couch talking to you again.
Yes, absolutely.
So, yeah,
anytime.
Just things get bigger. I want to reach out to more people, and you know that comes with hard work. And we've been working so hard recently. You know, my producer, my PR team, myself. You know, we've all been working really hard. So I would like things to just carry on the way they are. Really, just constant flow of music. Is
there a festival or a gig, a place where you'd actually like to perform? Is there something, if you've got a dream?
Yeah, I mean, obviously locally,
Yes.
V Festival.
Yes.
That's close to me. So I would love to perform at V Festival, whether it be on a big stage or a small stage. Just have me there.
Stage or two.
Just have me there.
Yeah. And what about globally? Or do you see yourself, you know, going to America and abroad with your music?
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll be back in New York.
Yes, because you were doing some recording in New York.
Yes,
weren't you?
so hopefully I'll be back in New York. So what I'm going to do is I want to set up some shows there so I can get on to my team. All I can say is keep posted about those shows, because we are going to do that, hopefully. But yeah, globally, I would love to perform in New York. I would love to reach out to America.
Yeah, because I mean, America is a big market for British music, and they love the Brits.
They do.
You know, they love your music. And do you think they'll like your music?
Well, so far they're loving it at the moment. I just hope I can reach out to more people, you know, and have them open their ears and just take in something different.
So we're just going to take a quick break now, but come back and join me in just a minute. Welcome back to Cuppa TV. My final guest today is TV personality Lee Deacon, a young lady who is a finalist for Miss Plus Size UK, also a singer, and is currently being filmed for a TV documentary, Pretty in Plus Size. Lee, thank you so much for joining me on Cuppa TV.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Wonderful to see you, Lee. So lots of exciting things going on at the moment, isn't there, for you?
Yeah.
So first of all, let's talk to us about, you know, Miss Plus Size UK. How did that all come about, Lee?
Well, I first found out about it with the BBC Three documentary. I think it was called Britain's Biggest Beauty Queens, and that was so inspirational for me. Like girls like myself who were bullied and even ostracised just because of their size. So I definitely thought, oh, I'll apply. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought apply because it's part of my bucket list. Sort of thing.
Was it? Oh, fantastic.
So I was shocked to actually get like an invitation for interview and then actually find out I'm a finalist. So
Wonderful.
it's still kind of surreal.
Yeah. So I mean, but we'll talk about that more in a minute. But let's go back, Lee. So tell us what happened at school. Tell us your story.
Well, I was bullied, particularly for my size, and I didn't take it very well. I kind of self-loathed, comfort ate, and just became a recluse as a young child.
And how old were you when that happened?
I think around 10, 11 years of age. So it was a very hard time for me back then. I look back, but I'm kind of glad that I had that experience, because it's just given me a thicker skin, and it's made me more determined that I want to be part of this movement.
Has it made you stronger?
Yeah, definitely. And I just want to be part of this movement of positive body image and self-confidence, definitely.
So when you were at school, and did you feel that you were different from the other children?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think actually I was the only mixed race child at school, at primary school.
Because you're Jamaican parents?
Yeah,
yes.
Jamaican and English.
Yes.
So I stood out automatically just by that, but also because of my size, I've made no secret that I love my food, but I was still active as a child as well, and I've never had any health conditions, that they say, associated with obesity, things like that. And I think BMI, like, people don't realise it's a kind of a measure of like the overall population, and new research suggests that you can still be plus size and healthy, you can fit in your own box, you don't have to look a certain way. And when we look at magazines, we see zero size, models that are totally not representative of, UK size, like average size is like a 16. So it's totally not representative of, the average girl. So, so I definitely, this is where my heart is in this movement of, moving it forward, hopefully.
So when you were sort of, obviously you were at school and you were bullied, when you came through that, when did the bullying stop for you, Liam? Did it stop or did it continue? Well,
actually, I think when I was 15, I changed schools because the bullying. It got so bad I was like physically attacked, so I had to change school.
Got so bad it made you change school.
Yeah, and I think at that point I did lose a lot of weight. I got down to like a size 12. And even then I wasn't happy with myself. I was a very insecure girl, given all my negative experiences at school and everything. So I think I'm at a stage now where I am happy. I can look in the mirror and in my birthday suit and not be ashamed of it, and accept it, and this is who I am. And obviously I'm a human being, and what people say does hurt, but I've got to think about what makes me happy, and I am happy with myself, and that's what matters.
And when you see other people now, and you're doing so much in the year, we'll talk about that, but when you see people now, how do they look at you? How do you think they perceive you, Leah? Do they look at your size first before they look at you, or do you feel that people now are thinking, as you say about the 0+ size models, are people beginning to sort of think, well, this isn't, if you like, a normal, whatever a normal weight is.
Yeah.
Do you think that people are sort of being more open about things now, talking about things more?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's giving a lot of girls confidence, to say, this is who I am. But obviously with change comes resistance, and you're going to have some of the minority that don't particularly like that. But all we're doing is just trying to open people's eyes and say, this is the normal everyday woman. There's a range of sizes. Everyone's got different genes, different builds. We're not all made to look a certain way. Like an analogy I like to say is like a flower. They come in different colours, shapes and forms, but it doesn't worry about what it looks like. It just, it stands proud in all its beauty. So I think,
that's a nice analogy.
Yeah.
So. And then when you became, obviously through teenage, were teenage years particularly difficult for you, Leah? Because teenage is a time when it's traumatic anyway, but was it a particular difficult time for you?
Definitely. I was very insecure. again because of the bullying, but also I used to look at magazines, see models in there, and they didn't really represent my size. And you know, I think as young girls, we take the impression that that's what they look like. You know, we're not informed that actually they're airbrushed, they're photoshopped. They have makeup and hair, you know, stylists as well. So they don't wake up and look like that. Yeah, I was very insecure, and kind of, it's just the unrealistic perception of what beauty is. And I'm glad that I'm at a stage where, you know, I know myself and I can inspire other women to do the same.
And why do you think the magazines, even then, you know, not so many years ago, but now today, why do you think that the magazines still have the size 0, which we all know that's what the magazines put in, size 0, but we are getting more plus sizes in our magazines? But why do you think it is that particularly young girls magazines, they do put the sizes in? Have you got any thoughts on that?
I think it just started probably from the 80s, where you had the supermodels, you know, the size 10 or below kind of, and we were made to think that they lived such a glamorous lifestyle and they were beautiful, and so
it's part of it was that size equals glamour and beauty.
Yeah,
is that what you think?
We had that kind of perception, and obviously every girl wanted to be those kind of girls, but they don't know the realization is that a lot of those models, you know, they develop problems with substance abuse. They even go under the knife to get surgery, and they have conditions like bulimia and body dysmorphia even, and so like they're very unhappy with themselves. And so like I said, I'm glad where I'm at a stage now where we can move forward hopefully and say, like, you know, everybody just be happy about who you are and don't be ashamed of it, and don't make anyone else make you feel ashamed of that. So.
And I mean, and for a young girl, do you think it's particularly important that they have that guidance? And do you think that guidance is there for them now?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's very important. I mean, growing up, I didn't have like a plus size model or personality that I could look up to and say, you know, everything's okay. You know, I because obviously it wasn't around at the time. I thought, wow, there must be a problem with me then. And like I said, I was very insecure, and it can play havoc on especially a young, impressionable teenage girl mentally.
And
definitely.
Then, you know, you got through your teenage years.
Yeah.
And you know, and then from there, what made you again? Just you obviously have a strength of character.
Yeah, definitely.
And you got through those quite traumatic years, I would have thought.
Yeah.
What happened then, Leah? What happened then for you?
It just became like a journey of self-discovery. Again, it took me a while. I was always on diets, trying to slim down and to a certain size.
Is that because you felt that you had to or should do?
Yeah, I kind of just got the impression that I kind of have to be a certain size and live up to this unrealistic perception of, like I said, beauty. And then I just got to a stage where I just thought, well, you know, it starts with myself, and you know, I've got to accept myself, otherwise no one else will. And it's just a part, I just think, like, for example, you know, before you go into a relationship with someone, you have to learn to love yourself before you can love somebody else, and I truly believe in that. So it took a while, but in the end I realised, yeah, well, I am happy, and I'm not looking for other people's approval anymore, and you know, I feel good in that, whereas before I just always wanted people's approval. And because obviously whatever size you are, there'll always be someone that will criticise something, you know, because we're all not perfect. And I live by that motto, where I just think, well, you know, just be yourself, and everything will be all right.
And when you came through those years, and you know, what was it though that gave? Was there something happen in your life? Was there a poignant moment where you thought, you know, I'm going to be happy with who I am and the size I am?
I think, you know, I've had quite a lot of traumatic experiences. You know, I went through domestic violence. I went through depression at a stage as well. So
How old were you when you had depression?
A few years ago, actually. You know, I lost my job. A long-term relationship ended, and because of losing my job and everything, I had mountains of debt, and I was just severely depressed, and I put on about 3 stone. And I look back then and I realised, I really wasn't happy, and there was really something that I had to do about, otherwise I'd just be sinking to a ever-ending black hole. And like I said, I think it was just self-discovery. It was just that moment where I just thought, like, I have to find myself and be true to myself, and that's what matters.
Almost you got so low that there wasn't any other way. Did you think suicidal thoughts, Leah? Definitely.
I mean, I'm not really proud of it, but it got to a stage where I didn't want to go on, and it's very hard to say those words now, because obviously it's not who I am. I'm generally a quite bubbly girl.
Very brave of you to say those words now.
Yeah, so it's definitely not part of my character. So I can look back now, and I kind of found salvation. I especially thought of my mum at the time as well, and she kind of helped me, find my way, sort of. And I think I got through depression by doing different things, like getting into music and listening to different genres like classical and reggae and things like that, and going to the gym, and just finding happiness in just the everyday little things that I did. And then eventually I came out of it, and I'm glad I can look back and say, I come out of that, because some people don't. And it's a very, people, we kind of take this British attitude of stiff upper lip, and like, because there's a lot of stigma still attached to mental health. And I think, charities like Samaritans are so good. I mean, I saw Samaritans at that low time, and it was just good to have someone. Yes, because like sometimes if you go to family, they don't necessarily understand it, and they say, oh well, just like you'll come out of it, sort of attitude. But it's not, you don't just click your fingers and it's gone. It takes time to come out of it and face it, and I faced it head on, and I'm proud to say I'm out of that now, and hopefully.
Here you are in all your beautiful glory, as a finalist of Miss Plus Size UK, which is incredible. I mean, it has, obviously that's made part of your character. You said yourself that's really made who you are. But then you can empathise, can't you, with the people perhaps you meet along the way, because you've been in that situation. You were bullied, you were very depressed. So do you find that you have empathy as well as sympathy for girls, young girls particularly, that are going through the same thing as maybe you went through? Yeah, I mean, definitely. It's just, I think because I've experienced a lot, it makes me more open-minded and very understanding. And I have a diploma in medicine, so I'm hoping, hopefully to start medical school next year. So, is that what you'd like to do? Yeah, so, health is very important to me, and, I want to create more awareness, because I don't think there's enough out of it there. We talk about mental health on Cuppa TV, and, and the fact is that in the young, mental health, depression, suicide is on the increase in the UK. Why do you think that is, Leah? Have you got your personal thoughts on that? I think I read some recent research saying that, because we have unlimited access to social media these days, and we sometimes can compare ourselves to our friends, and if we don't live up to their standards, then we can get quite low on ourselves. So it's low self-esteem almost. Yeah, so I think that's a part to play on that. So I think it's just for us to remember that, you can't compare yourself to another person, because, they don't live your life. You have a different background, everything's different about you. So just remember that, and don't compare yourself, because it can, have a detrimental
effect on your health, mental health.
And I mean, and this journey you've been on now,
Yeah.
I mean, you, as I say, you know, tell us about being a finalist. What does that actually involve? When is the final itself?
It's Saturday the 19th of September. It's going to be held at the Manchester Mercure Hotel. I'm still trying to sell tickets,
Yes.
so I definitely...
Is that December or September?
September, sorry.
Fantastic. No, that's fine. That was me. Yeah. So you've got those, and again, people have supported that pageant.
Yeah.
Were you proud to be involved in that pageant, Leah?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like this year has just been a kind of a...
it's like just a whirlwind.
Yeah.
And you've been filming as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
So tell us about that.
So for Pretty in Plus Size, and obviously she's the camera lady still got the final to film.
Yeah, so it's like a documentary, so they're following you. Is it just you or a group of women?
I think that she was following 2 other girls as well from Birmingham or West Midlands. So yeah, that's surreal. And then obviously I was featured in like the Birmingham Mail, the Daily Express, Daily Star. So, and also I've had sponsors. I didn't think I would ever get sponsors. Yeah. So you know, We Make Amend, they helped me with my dresses, and the lady doing my hair, Europa Hair Salon in Witten. So I'm very grateful.
So you've got lots of people that are helping you.
Yeah.
And again, why do you think that is, Leah?
I was shocked myself, but I think they just recognised that it's something that needs to be moved forward. I mean, they say the plus size industry is a growing demographic, because obviously there's girls like me who want to wear trendy clothes. We don't want to look frumpy. You know, we want to look sexy as well. And you know, I think there's a lot of negativity associated with plus size. You know, that we're unattractive or we're unappealing, and that we sit on the sofa all day, watch reruns of Jeremy Kyle, and kind of have a finger buffet at our disposal. So it's good to kind of be able to be part of breaking barriers and show that actually that is not, you know, that's definitely not the, you know, perception I have of myself anyway.
And do you think we're moving forward, you know, as a UK, as a nation, do you think we are now looking at that and saying, you know, actually, yeah, we do need to do something more for plus size girls and boys?
Yeah, definitely, like with men as well. I think men are overlooked. I think there needs to be a lot of more fashion out there for plus size men. Definitely, but I can see a movement, and it is overwhelming, and it is very overall quite positive. So yeah, I'm glad.
And what would you like
that.
to do, Leah? What would you like to do to try and, you know, get the awareness, raise the awareness out there?
If I was to win the title, I would love to promote body confidence in schools and colleges and universities, and maybe even the workplace as well. And also, again, about breaking barriers, like maybe feature on magazines that not necessarily associated with plus size. For example, Muscle and Fitness. Obviously, I've never seen a plus size person on the front cover, but you know, it's a magazine to do with you know, incorporating fitness into your lifestyle. So why can't a plus size person do that? You know, I'm active. I know some people may not think that, but you know, I go to the gym at least 3 days a week, and I love working out because it's more than just because you know, I've eaten a chocolate bar, so I've got to work it off. It's more of a kind of it's kind of a spiritual thing for me. Like after working out, I kind of feel mentally uplifted, and again, because I went through depression, exercise, physical activity really helped lift my mood.
Thank you so much, Leah. Thank you. It's lovely to meet you. So that's it for today's show. I'd like to thank Anita, David, George and Leah for joining me today. And if you'd like to get in touch with us here, you can join us on Facebook or Twitter at Big Centre TV. We'd love to hear from you.